I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour, Scotty's favorite day of the week. It's Wednesday, and it, of course, is it the, I believe it's the first? Yeah, it is the first Wednesday in July. Scotty, the Pulp Fiction t-shirt, I love it. The little pop culture, if you will. We've got a great show today, my friend. A great show. Chet Cooper's going to join us. We have a pre-taped interview with the brand spanking new athletic director of the Beaver Local Beavers, Mr. Josh Sigler. And, of course, we have a lot more to fill in between because there's been some breaking news that I'm sure you want to talk about a little bit. We're going to have a little bit of time right after on this day in sports history. You ready?
Yeah, let's get to it. Ready to roll.
Let's rock it. All right, so on this day in sports history in 1997, the Montreal Expos retired Baseball Hall of Fame outfielder Andre Dawson's uniform, which was the number 10. So my question to you, Scotty, in honor of the number 10, who is the greatest number 10 who to ever wear a jersey, in your opinion?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. I kind of have gone back and forth on this. I think the more I think about this, DJ, I think, call him what you want, lucky, but I mean, the man still won 2 Super Bowls. I think you almost kind of gotta have to give it to Eli.
Eli Manning.
When I was thinking about it, yeah.
That's a good one.
I'd probably give it to Eli, but I'll tell you who my favorite number 10 is, and this may surprise you.
Okay.
But it's because he was part of some of my earliest sports memories and, really starting to like, not really just like, but really fall in love with baseball. And, not all of the memories were good, but nonetheless, he's a guy that was so instrumental and made such a big impact on my childhood, made me want to get in the game more, and that's baseball, and that's Chipper Jones.
You stole him. You stole mine. It was Chipper Jones, Larry, all the way. That's my guy. For me, Chipper is, that first World Series where he just took over against the Indians, he was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
is that a sour subject for you?
It kind of is. Like, one of my earliest memories I have is my dad. Well, my first memory goes back to like 93, but I remember before the 95 World Series, we were carving pumpkins in the fall.
Okay.
And my dad, he made a Chief Wahoo on the pumpkin, which is now outlawed, as we know, but it's something that I'm like, man, because I really didn't realize at that time. You got a couple years on me, DJ, and I really didn't grasp how good the Indians were.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were able to. You had an Albert Bell jersey. Like, I knew they were on the verge of something significant, and they were a good team, but
Mm-hmm.
couldn't totally like comprehend everything. But then I knew, they would go on to lose, and they didn't reach their full potential. But that's happened quite a bit in
Some
Cleveland.
tough years for Cleveland fans and baseball
Yeah.
fans alike. But at this time we are joined by a guy who has had some great years. The district administrator of Little League baseball and softball for District Two. One of my good friends. We bring in Mr. Chet Cooper. Chet, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for inviting me, TJ.
It's
Appreciate being here.
It's an honor. It's an honor because you do so much. People don't realize. I mean, honestly, like I'm not blowing smoke. You do so much for so many kids around our area,
Oh,
not
thank
just
you.
in our district, but across Little League, softball, and baseball. Like you've been to the big show. You've umpired games in Williamsport. Talk to me about the why you got into this in the first place, why it's so important to you, and why it's so close to your heart still to this day, July 6, 2022.
Well, I'll tell you how I got started. It was when we lived back in League City, Texas. My son was playing Little League baseball. And DJ, as you well know, parents are a little obnoxious in the stands, right? So I'm trying to be nice. Anyway, so the parents, this is pregame. They're already ranting and raving, and the manager came along and said, "Hey, we need a base umpire today." And to get out of the stands right away, I jumped. I literally jumped over the fence to go start umpiring, and you know, I found it was the best seat in the house. I enjoyed it. You're watching kids play for the pure joy of it. They're just out there playing. They're just being kids, and one thing led to another. And eventually became a certified Little League umpire, and I kept enjoying that. And I moved into other areas of officiating as well as Little League, high school officiating, and it's still all about the kids. It's just watching them play, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just watching the pureness of the game. It's not stained with money and things like that, like professional sports are. And I just do it because, I've learned all these years, it's one little thing that can affect the life of a young person. So you always try to do something positive for a young person, and they'll remember years from then.
And I'm sure they do all the time. How many kids do you have? I guess maybe not kids anymore. How many adults do you have coming up to you and talking about the days that you umpired them? And you're still an umpire to this day. You can see
Yes.
Chet all over the place, whether it's on a Little League diamond or whether it's on a big boy diamond down at Ysn Park. How often do you get those conversations with kids you umpired?
This look at Dan Bertolini, the YSU head coach. I remember him from high school, in college and Ysn Park, and he keeps coming up, and we have these chats that, we get a little nostalgic, and it's things like that just, you look at Dan Bertolini, look at what he's done. Look where he's at in his life. He's very successful, has a very nice family, and is working really hard and having some success. And you sit back and you think, in some way, hopefully positively, you contributed to that. And so that's what the satisfaction comes from. And that's just one of a number of occasions when people come up to you. And it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Chet, you talked about how it's when you're doing these games, these Little League games, these youth games, it is so, and we're getting some love in for you. So Mark Ross says Chet is one of the best around, and I think everybody feels the same way. But when you're doing these youth games, I think a lot of speculation is way off base. I mean, these umpires that you have for the districts are doing this for no money, just for the love of the game and to be around these kids and to be around the atmosphere. Why is it so important, on behalf of those umpires, on behalf of those guys, why is it so important to be involved and not worry about a paycheck?
They do it for the same reason that I do it. It's for the love of the kids, the love of the sport. Try to, have some teaching moments to make sure that they have a safe and wonderful place to play and to have a positive experience, and how to learn to win and lose. And, umpires are there just to make sure that everything's balanced, right? And, in our district games, as you've already mentioned, all my umpires are volunteer umpires, and they just jump at the situation. In fact, I'll tell you a story that happened last night. One of the umpires in the softball, and I won't name him because I don't want to embarrass him, but he came up to me after the game and said, Chad, I really love this, and I wanted to tell you, and I'm not telling you for any specific reason, but I wanted to tell you how much this means to me. I committed to come do this game tonight, and I got a phone call yesterday to come do a Pony League doubleheader for $100 per game.
Wow.
And I declined it immediately because not only did I make a commitment to you, which is, I appreciate that, but he said, this is where I wanted to be. I wanted to come umpire some baseball games tonight. Actually, it was softball last night, but that's the kind of person we have volunteering their time on our diamonds in the district play and in the state play when we get a state tournament as well. So that's the basic answer to your question.
So I think what I've been most impressed with is you have an expectation for players, for coaches, and for fans when they walk through there and they're attending these games for youth and for Little League. What are those expectations and why are they so important to you and so important to the area, District 2, and we're talking about representation?
Well, my expectations are for the players, go out and play hard. Just play hard, win or lose, go out and have fun. For the managers and coaches, I expect people to teach the right thing and be positive role models for their players, and not just their players, but the players across the way in the other dugout. And for parents, DJ, you probably know this from televising a number of the games you guys do. Sometimes the fans get a little out of hand, right? And no, come on, really, DJ? You've never seen that? I could tell you all kinds of stories, but this year during the district manager meeting, actually, I probably should start out with the high school rules meeting at state in Columbus this year, where the head chief umpire said, we're done with misbehaving parents. If there's no control over those parents, you write a report to me, and I'm going to contact the schools and tell them if they don't get it under control, they will no longer have high school umpires at their games. That's how serious it's become. So when we had our district meeting, I told the managers, this is the year we're going to make a change. Everybody's going to be behaving, and that includes the fans. And what I expect to see from the fans is not only cheering for their team, but cheering for the other team as well, because that's what's really important. It's important for these kids, both boys and girls, to have a positive experience, particularly after the last couple rough years we've had in this country, right? So those are kind of my expectations, and I'm pleasantly surprised at this point how well the district tournaments have run. They've been peaceful, no issues whatsoever so far. Knock on wood, okay? Because we got a week to go, but I'm very pleased, very, very pleased so far with the district tournament. I hope that answers your question too.
100%.
Okay.
One of the things, Chet, is with those expectations, you have to always expect change, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We know you as the guy for our Little League representation around here. We've heard the changes are going to be taking place in Little League. Steve and Keener coming out with possibly the quote unquote open enrollment. Can you talk us through that? You can give us your opinion if you'd like. If you want to stay on the fence, you're more than welcome to. But, we have our opinions of that. There's open enrollment in high school now in most high schools. How do you feel about this is the biggest change we've seen in Little League in probably a quarter of a century?
Yeah, this is going to be a big deal if it comes to fruition, and it's still out there for discussion among the Little League board. What is planned is to allow potential players from outside boundaries, boundaries already established, if they have not played Little League before, they can choose the league they wish to play in. Okay. That has its good points and bad points. The good point is we definitely will get more kids to play, particularly those that don't currently live in a boundary. The bad part is kids are going to go to the more attractive leagues. Mm-hmm. And that's going to hurt the smaller leagues in my district as well as across the country. So we're going to have to figure out, if this does come to fruition, how we're going to address those issues. The other issue people don't think about, and I start to see it happen because we already have a mechanism where we have what we call out-of-boundary waivers. There's a kid, for whatever good reason, wants to move from one league to another or some other situation where we can waiver them into a league. These kids have like what we call a red shirt waivers, where they can come into the league, but they can't play on a tournament team in their first year. Well, some people are starting to get a little apprehensive about that because some of these players that are wavering in are actually really good players. They're going to displace the players that are already within the boundaries on the tournament team. So there's issues we're going to have to deal with. I kind of see the big picture of it. What we want is to get more kids into this Little League program, which I believe is, the premier youth organization in this country and actually across the world. But how we're going to do this in this proposed mechanism, I think we have to figure out some of the details, where the guardrails are going to be and how we don't damage our current recreational leagues.
Okay, so as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's Little League sanctioned tournaments and like the ones you're in right now, and then there's others that are not. They're not Little League. So like for East Palestine, for instance, I don't believe they're under Little League sanction. So
no.
Would a player from East Palestine be able to either have one of those waivers or be able to move leagues in Boardman if this is passed?
Yeah, they if it's passed. If they've never played Little League, they could.
Little League sanction or Little League across all facets? I guess
all facets. Okay. Okay. They could potentially request to join Poland, Austintown, Boardman, Canfield, any of those leagues, and join. The thing is, I know there's people out there thinking, man, we have this travel team. We're just going to transfer it all. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Because when you waiver in, you can't waiver in a team because the kids have to be drafted on the teams. Okay.
Yep.
So, if you got 5 good players on a travel team and you waive them in, all the managers in that league who have teams have a shot at drafting those. So they're not all going to go on the same team. And so that will not happen. At least I hope that doesn't happen. Okay.
I love it.
And I'm all for more competition, but I think we also have to understand what Little League is about and not lose those principles, which is this is about the kids. Okay. Regular season is about playing, having fun, learning some skills, having friendships, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Developing. The competition part, it's great so long as we keep it in perspective. And I hate to beat the drum a little bit, DJ, but the people don't keep it into perspective are the people outside the fences
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So-
You're not surprising anybody with that. We've had that conversation many times.
Yes, yes.
Interesting. So, what I loved last night was a rule that I completely forgot about was the rule of if you have players on your bench, they have to play at least one at bat, and if they're under 13, they've got to play 2 innings consecutively in the field, which I love. But what
Right.
I now love is the kind of, I don't want to say it's a change of the rule, but they moved it a little bit where if you have 13 or more, you only have to have the one at bat. So it encourages coaches to carry more players, to have more kids on their teams, to be part of these teams and the extra, the all-star tournaments and district tournaments, things like that. That's a brilliant move. And I think that's fantastic. I don't want to say more people should get involved in that, but other leagues, I mean, you look at this, that should be a rule of some sort in basketball and football, things like that, where you're getting involved and there's incentives for coaches to carry more players because they're not being penalized by having to play them necessarily 2 innings in the field. Because you and I both know, Chet, that if a coach has a way to give themselves an advantage in a tournament setting, they're going to do it. So if they only if they carry 10 and they only have to play 10, that's all they're going to carry, knowing that there's no vacations, anything like that. But, allowing kids to be kids is something that I believe has come and gone already for most of these coaches. Now it's just about baseball. They don't care about when your vacations are planned, all that stuff. You've been around this game for a long time. The rule changes seemingly are well thought out for the most part for Little League. Why is it that Little League always gets it seemingly right on the head every single time?
Well, because if you got to know their staff, they sit and think about this quite seriously. They actually, I'm on the international advisory board for Little League baseball and softball. So there's a board comprised of about 15 of us, and we meet once a year and we go over things like this, these proposed rule changes or safety issues, and so they're getting their opinions. The Little League administration's getting opinions from us from all over the country of what's probably right and what's probably wrong. And then they have others, they have their actual board of trustees, our directors actually, that, they revisit this. They ask experts, this is how the pitching rule came about, only so many pitches. It went from innings to pitches, right?
Yep.
And the reason being is, they started thinking about safety. They got pediatricians involved, people who are experts in, muscles and bones of young people. And that's how they came up with the pitch count, which is more a safety issue is a better way of pitching rather than just counting innings. But the point I'm trying to make is, there's a hierarchy and everything bubbles up to the top. And by the time they make a decision, they have about all the information they can to make a informed decision on what to change and what not to change.
Well, thank you. I love all the changes. It sounds like it's just boots on the ground. You listen to the people that are there, that are witnessing it, that are hearing from parents, hearing from coaches, hearing from players.
Yeah.
And you, my friend, are our boot on the ground, and we couldn't thank you enough. Chet Cooper, District Administrator of District 2, a guy that I'm sure will be on YSN frequently over the next week or so. You'll see him handing out the banners, the flags last night. You did it again. Chet, on behalf of all of us at YSN and everybody that watches, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of it. It's our
Absolutely. I'm glad you're there, and I want to continue to congratulate you and your staff. They're doing a fine job. I'm out here at Canfield right now. Your announcer called a great game. He has a great radio voice. I just want you to know.
Richie Giuliano. That's right.
Yeah.
Is it raining out there? It's pouring here.
No, it's kind of sunny. It's a little cloudy, but it's sunny. So don't send it. Don't send it, DJ. No, I don't want it.
We'll see you in a little bit, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a good. See you soon. Bye-bye.
There he goes, Chet Cooper, the legend, one of my favorites of all time, a guy that has the best interest of the kids in the game at heart. And if you don't know him, you need to, because he is honestly one of my favorite guys and a huge advocate for YSN, and why I get to go, Scotty, and do some more Little League Baseball at 12U tonight. I'm excited about 6 and 8 o'clock right here on the network. I mean, you got to sit back and just watch that interview. I apologize for not letting you jump in. But your takeaways for Mr. Cooper?
He just seems like a real class act. You know, it might sound cliche, but he's just seems like one of those guys that he does it because he wants to bring a smile to the kids, a smile to their faces. Not to get too, corny like a Disney movie, but that really is what it's all about.
It is.
We were talking about it earlier on Running Point, and there's really nothing better than that's one of my favorite things, like, about the Little League World Series and Little League World Series time, when it's kids on that level, it's just different. Not that, watching, college or the pro, it's still great, but when you see just that, like, feeling of
pure joy,
just joy and excitement, that's what it's all about, man. Because I don't know about you, DJ, but I thought life was like, not that it's not really good now, but I thought it was so great as a kid.
Yep.
And I remember, like, going to Roosevelt Park to watch my brother play and everything. All the games I watched him, and, like, going to Dairy Queen after.
There it is. That's what we're waiting for, the Dairy Queen.
They would go to Dairy Queen, and just always good stuff, man.
I'm a big fan of Chet because he's an advocate of doing things the right way. And he's an advocate for not only the kids, but for the parents, the coaches, the players, the programs, and the entire Little League. He is our representation here in Youngstown. He is a guy who is well-known, well-respected, from sea to shining sea for what he does at the Little League level. And he's a doctor, nonetheless. By the way, the doc is in. We'll catch up with him tonight. We appreciate him stopping by here today. He's a busy man this time of year. Doesn't have to do it, but he didn't even skip a beat when I said, Chet, I need you on tomorrow. We need to talk Little League. People need to know. And he's like, I'll be there. And I sent him the wrong link. That's why he wasn't on. I mean, he is on point. Probably would have been here at 2:59, but Jackalope Yoakley sent him the wrong link and ended up having to get him the right link. So sorry, Chet. I appreciate you. Your flexibility in that, and I will see you later tonight. We're going to take a break, Scotty, and when we come back, we have the brand new athletic director from Beaver Local, a name that we're pretty familiar with, the last name, Mr. Sigler, only it's Josh, the former basketball coach, girls basketball coach at United Local. We're going to have all that and more when we come back on this jam-packed edition of the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by these great sponsors.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. If we don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting, where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education, and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
You know, being able to have success on the football field and the basketball court and just every aspect of, my sports career is now documented. One of the greatest things about high school sports is to be able to talk about it for the rest of your life and to look back on the days with my buddies whenever we would, have some battles, whether it was with our rival or just another game. And I could go back and look at it, and not only myself but my family members, my teammates, and it's something that will last a lifetime. My name is Parker Sherry, and my sports network is your sports network.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, everybody. DJ Yoakley with you for another, as promised, a special edition of the YSN Coach's Corner, a guy that everybody's familiar with on YSN, but now wearing a little bit of different colors in public, as you're accustomed to seeing. We're joined by the brand spanking new Beaver Local Athletic Director, Mr. Josh Sigler. Josh, how are you?
Good. How are you, DJ?
I'm doing well. Not as good as you are, man. So a little backstory. Let's take people through it for those who are wondering why the jump. Obviously, you've worked at Beaver Local for a long time. You graduated from Beaver Local. You've been there from basically the start of your life till now. But you were the United basketball coach for the last 3 years, head coach. And back, you said, I think, till what, 2013?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, that you've been a part of that program's success over the last nearly decade. And now you make the transition full-time to athletic director at Beaver Local, where, again, you were a teacher, and now you go into a full-time administration position. Why was this the right time for you, and how much trouble did you have with kind of fighting your heartstrings a little bit on both sides with United and Beaver Local?
Well, I think when the job came open, I had several people ask me if I was interested in it. And it was something I kind of gave thought to, but I wasn't real sure that I wanted to go that route at first. And then the more I thought about it and talked it over with my family, and I thought it was a really good opportunity to try it out and apply and see where the road went from there. I taught here for 18 years at the elementary level. So I knew a lot of parents coming up through now. I know a lot of the students that are here at the high school now, having them in elementary school at the new building. And a lot of staff and administration I know. So to apply for it and get the job was the good time for me. The transition was going to be easier when it came to being familiar with my surroundings. Now, the transition to the job itself is going to be very difficult and very time consuming and overwhelming. But knowing everybody and that aspect of it, Mr. Lowe, the superintendent, and knowing him for many, many years, it made that part of it a pretty easy decision for myself. The decision of jumping from coaching into an athletic director position, that was kind of an extension of things. And leaving where I was at United, that was tough. That I went from being home at Beaver Local, as a standpoint of living here and going to school here and teaching here, to going out to the United community where, I was able to, I got married and moved into Hanoverton, and my family have roots there now, and daughter goes to school there. And then I started coaching there and getting to know that community and the administration there. And then all the kids, it became tough, and going from one sport for basketball to softball. And the more I was there, the more I became involved. And so when it became the time to apply for the athletic director position, it really, hit home. Hey, you get this job, you're going to be done. And I kept everything pretty quiet and thought about, if I do get this job, how am I going to talk to my team? And that was pretty hard. That was really hard at the moment. But it became reality for myself that, hey, this is what you need to do. This is a good way to grow yourself into a new profession and still be able to impact kids and in the sport level and in the education world.
So, when you talk about the conversation, and one that you probably went through a zillion times in your head, how did the conversation go when you stepped down? Not so much the administration side, because I think everybody who's an adult understands, but those kids, I mean, United is very foundationally based. You see the autograph sessions, which we love here on YSN, and you've been an integral part of girls sports at United High School. What did the conversation consist of, and how did you kind of break the news to them?
Well, we were at Mount Union, as a matter of fact, and it was kind of a whirlwind week. You know, I had an interview on Tuesday. I got the news on Wednesday that I got offered the job. And then Wednesday evening, I went ahead and accepted the job. So I knew I had to really figure out how I wanted to tell the girls. And then on Thursday, we were going to Mount Union for a shootout. And I had already talked to my assistant coaches, Corey and Terry Leak, about it. So they had already known. And we waited until our last game. And I brought all the parents over too, because that was important to me, because not only had the girls been really good for me over the years, but the parents have been extremely good to me. And so I wanted to let them know as well. So I just gathered everybody up and told them that that day was my last day coaching, and I was resigning to take a athletic director position at Beaver Local. And I think some of them, they took it pretty well. And then some of them didn't know how to take it. They even asked me if I was joking, because I would joke around with them quite often with different things. And so no, I was being serious, and they knew, and the parents were very happy for me, and the kids were very happy for me. I think some of them were sad, but at the same time, they kept on a strong face like those United kids do. And they went home and they thought about it. And I had many of them message me later on in the evening and telling me good luck, and they were going to miss everything that happened. But I told them, everything's going to be fine. That community is a strong community, and they're going to find a strong person to take over the program, and they're going to all be just fine. So there was some tears, there was some different emotions, and there was a lot of positivity to the message.
Certainly an emotional experience, had to be. I mean, I know how much you've put into your heart and soul and your family into that, and everybody's rallied around you. And on behalf of everybody here at YSN, man, you've become a fan favorite of people, and kind of the post, the person that you look to and you say, hey, this is what Josh Sigler did at United. We want to kind of replicate that in a lot of different communities. So kudos to you. And I'm really happy to hear that the girls understood, the parents understood, because nowadays that's not necessarily the case. And I know you kind of made it a tight-knit community in your basketball program and all of United girls sports, because in a small school, as we talk about constantly, you have to share those girls and those kids in different sports, and you've been a huge advocate for that. So when we turn the page now, right, the emotional stuff's the tough stuff's over. Now you turn back to a place you call home, and you've called home for a long, long time. You and your brother are Beaver Local through and through, know everything, historians about it. This had to be a great moment in your life to be able to get that stamp of approval and now be basically the CEO of the athletic department, to be able to kind of go back in history, maybe bring some traditions back that have been lost in yesteryear, but also have that new spin that Eric Lowe is so keen on bringing and so good at bringing to the table. What are some of the things that you think that you're going to be able to present for Beaver Local fans and for the families that are all the Beavs?
Well, I hope, first and foremost, I hope they understand that, I'm a pretty dedicated person, and I'm very loyal. And when it comes to Beaver Local, I'm a pretty loyal person. It is home to me. I am a Beaver Local graduate, and I am a Beaver Local fan and supporter at heart, always will be. And to now be in this role to where I can really expand on things, I couldn't be any more honored to do it and more proud. Beaver Local has a rich history of sports, especially when it comes to football in the 2000s and the late 90s. And then wrestling has always been one of the main staples here, and always will be a main staple here at Beaver Local. So I hope to continue those traditions, but not only that, but also try to, get our other sports going as well. Volleyball is very, very good here with Coach Lowe. She does an outstanding job. And so I'd like to, kind of push the other envelope a little bit, maybe with the other sports, and get them up to speed more, where we can be a little bit more competitive in those things, and get more athletes to participate in all sports as well. I'd like to. Beaver Local is rich in tradition with East Liverpool, and I'd like to really bring back that rivalry as much as we possibly can. It's always going to be there, but I would like to see it get back to where it once was. I know there used to be some hostility amongst the kids and some hostility amongst the communities, and I'm not asking for any warfare when it comes to that, but what I'd like to see is some real focus on, hey, we're going to play East Liverpool, and what it means to go to Beaver Local, what it means to go and play East Liverpool and beat East Liverpool. That's what we want to do again. And so I hope to bring back that a little bit in all sports.
So I'm interested from this standpoint. We're not going to get into conference talk or anything like that, but how important from an athletic director standpoint is it to be able to keep, you spoke about East Liverpool, there's other communities that there are rivalries with Beaver Local, and they run deep as well. Maybe not as deep as the blue and white versus red and white, but it's important nowadays to make sure that you're still playing these communities that you played. From your standpoint, do you want to get some of these schools back on the schedule at some point in the next couple of years?
I'd like to. I mean, Wellsvilles are there, and that was always a big time rivalry, which it still is. I mean, we're still fortunate enough to play them in boys basketball and a few other sports. But, when it comes to the outer reaches of the community, Crestview could be a very good rival for us in many different sports as well. But the hardships of it is the enrollment size of each school now, and it becomes tougher and tougher to become more balanced when it comes to competition and playing those schools and being fair towards one another. But East Palestine's right up the road, Crestview's up the road, Liverpool's right there, Wellsville's right there. You can even go to on the other side of the community, Salem's there too. So it'd be nice to open the door a little bit on some of those other schools. I know we play Salem in football currently, so it'd be nice to get a couple more on there as well.
So from a standpoint of challenges, I mean, every time you created or fall into a new position or created a new position for, there's a giant challenge amongst all of them. What do you feel in this new role as athletic director of Beaver Local is going to be your biggest challenge, kind of gator closest to the boat?
Time. I mean, just the biggest challenge for me is just balancing my time and making sure that I'm managing my time the way it needs to be. Being at as many events as I can be at. And I know I'll be at the home events every night as much as I can be, and away events. And I know there's a lot of administrators here that do a great job of helping one another when it comes to that. So the time management aspect of it is going to be very, very time consuming, and being in the building and every day and talking to kids and athletes and making sure I make my rounds and I talk to as many kids as I can to get them interested in not only fulfilling their sport duties, but being responsible and being accountable towards life. I think those are some things I have to make sure that I put at the forefront as well.
We're here with the new Beaver Local Athletic Director, Mr. Josh Sigler. A couple more questions for you, buddy. So one of the things that I'm really interested in is nowadays it's so tough to keep alumni connected to their alma mater. Beaver Local has a rich tradition. We're going to talk about this for years and years and years about the tradition of Beaver Local, but they have some great alumni that are not only famous, but they are just Beaver Local proud of being from Beaver Local, wherever they may be, the 100-mile radius that is Beaver Local. How do you reconnect if those ties have been severed? And what are you looking to do to kind of push the pride of the Beavers from yesteryear, like yourself?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, you're right. The alumni are what carry everything. They're what carry your tradition. They're what carry your heritage. So being able to communicate with them and find out what involvement we can make with them and have them get back involved within our sports and within our school. I think, just this past weekend, we had the alumni reunion, and the Alumni Association did a great job of organizing that and had a lot of people come back for that. So I think reaching out to the Alumni Association themselves and talking to them and, hey, what can we do better? What can we do more to get you more involved? And outside of just having an alumni game, sometimes that just doesn't cut it. But if we do have an alumni game, what can we do to enhance that game to make them want to come back and be a part of it. And I think the communication itself is going to have to improve for sure to get them more involved and more interested in being here.
So the last question I have for you, they say once a coach, always a coach. And it's a lot easier to think about walking away than it is actually doing so from, hanging up the whistle. How challenging for you is it going to be, especially come basketball season, to not really have that opportunity, the same opportunity as you have for so many years? And will you miss it? And what will you miss the most about the opportunity of being a head basketball coach?
I guess first off, I said, yeah, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it from the standpoint of having that direct relationship with those, 12, 13, 14, 15 individuals and the couple coaches. However, at the same time, now being in this role, it allows me to be involved in having a hand in and talking with more kids and being more supportive of each sport. I'll be able to go to a practice and just walk through and just watch, which is going to be really nice to do. And I'll be able to also educate myself. I mean, there are other coaches out there that do things that I didn't do, and I can learn from them. And maybe they can ask me and say, hey, what did you do when it comes to this? And I'll give them my opinion, whether they use it or not, that's up to them. But I think the nice part of it is I'm going to be able to just go and just kind of be a fan a little bit too of each sport, but in a different role. So am I going to miss it? Yeah. But at the same time, I'm going to really like the new opportunity of being more involved with more kids and more sports.
There he is, Josh Sigler, one of my favorites, my go-to when it comes to it. Just thank you so much for your time. It's greatly appreciated. Congratulations on the new gig, man. Nobody deserves it more than you. We're proud of you, and we're looking forward to lots of conversations down the road, my friend.
Absolutely. Will do, man. Thank you. Go Beavers.
Thank you. Go Beavs. So a little inside joke there with at the end. Only Chris Sigler kind of knows, maybe Josh, but a great man in charge. To me, Beaver Local is on a string of great hires from that standpoint. Michael McKenzie a few years ago, now the head coach, was the head coach, and now he's still the head coach, but in a different administration role. Then you hire Bob Beam, who is now the athletic director at Springfield. And now you have almost a homecoming of sorts with Josh Sigler. Again, another great person who represents not only his community, but the school, his family so well. It had to be hard. And I tried to preface this in the interview. He's done so much for that united just basketball team, the community. Again, every facet you can touch. Josh Sigler has been there. He has molded the clay very well to have a team that competes each and every night that they're out there. And for him to make this move, it had to be the perfect one. And for Josh Sigler, if you can't be happy for him in this moment, then you just can't be happy for him because he's home. He's home. He went to school there. He taught there, still teaches there, and now he's an admin and the CEO of the athletic department, as I like to say. But congratulations once again to Josh Sigler for this, for everything he's been through, for everything he's gone through, and now he gets a break, and I think he's going to do a great job at Beaver Local. So thanks to him for stopping by the show earlier today. He's a crazy busy trying to get caught up with all the things. And I know Bob Beam has been helping him a little bit for, get acclimated and kind of up to speed on some of the things. So great stuff happening in Beaver Local. I can't wait to see what Josh has planned and what he is able to execute. Scotty, let's turn the page. There's some breaking news earlier today. Do you want to let everybody out in La La Land know what's going on with your beloved Cleveland Browns?
There was breaking news today, and I actually broke it.
Listen to you.
I should say Adam Schefter broke it.
You should have said reliable sources.
Yeah.
There was your shot.
I was going to go there, but I didn't know if it'd be too much of a source spot for you. Reliable sources. It was not, I think I should have Schefter, but it was Ian Rappaport when I was first on Running Point. And the Cleveland Browns, my Cleveland Browns, have finally traded Baker Mayfield really after months of speculation. Is he going to get dealt? When is he going to get dealt? Could he play for the Browns again? They've traded him to Carolina for a 2024 conditional draft pick. So,
how do you feel about it?
The Baker era over. I'm a little bit got a little bit of an uneasy feeling in my stomach. All this news going on with Deshaun Watson, and again, I don't want to paint this picture where I'm insensitive to women and the women viewers. I definitely don't want to do that. But when you look at, it's I've gotten a little more optimism this last week about Watson. Maybe, maybe he suits up this year because, you look what happened with what's going on with Robert Kraft and Daniel Snyder, and it's like if nothing else happened to them, it's like there might be some hope for Watson, but this got me feeling a little uneasy because even if Watson plays, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion he won't start the season with the Browns. And Baker, he's one of those guys that he uses things as motivation. Now, he's not as gifted as somebody like Air Jordan, but he's the only guy to lead us to the playoffs and a playoff victory in the last 20 plays. Sorry, DJ. I know you hate when I bring that up, but this has got me feeling a little bit sick right now. Again, I'm staying positive on the Watson front, but man, you wonder if Jacoby Brissett is going against Baker week 1, and is the NFL gonna eat that up? That is must-see TV, DJ. Whether you're a Browns fan, Steelers fan, or whoever, I think everybody will be paying close attention to that one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So there's a lot to unpack here. Part of me wonders, you might be onto something, Scotty, because the Browns kind of have been holding Baker Mayfield, I don't want to say hostage, but really, they've been holding. I mean, he's been kind of off the grid. They excused him from practice, and the timing behind this, given that Deshaun Watson's suspension or non-suspension or whatever he's going to be handed down is coming out in the next week or so.
And is without, because I know you're a Steelers fan, but without like putting bias into this, just real quick, I want you to stay on this Baker thing, but is your gut feeling still Watson gets at least a year minimum?
It is. Because Roger Goodell is going to come down with a hammer.
You think so?
I do.
He's going to be he's going to ride in on his horse.
Listen, this is a
hero.
The NFL is one of the most recognized logos in the entire world, right? And right now with all the things that are going on in our society, if you turn on the news at all during the day, you're going to quickly realize that whatever happens with this Deshaun Watson thing is something that Goodell's going to have to live with in his legacy for the rest of his tenure. So if, let's say, Deshaun Watson doesn't get any way of suspension from this judge, right? Nothing. I think he is going to get every book thrown at him by Roger Goodell. And to your point, Scotty, you've heard rumors, as have I, has everybody. I've heard rumors that this might be a situation where Deshaun Watson might be suspended indefinitely.
It could definitely. I mean, I don't think anything's off the table.
So it could be, and it could be a situation where Goodell uses it to buy time and says he's suspended indefinitely, and then they get to week 10, and all of a sudden Roger Goodell lifts the suspension, and Deshaun Watson's playing in week 11. But the problem I see with all of this is no matter what side of the table you sit on, Browns fans, the only reason, and you can tell me I'm completely crazy, the only reason that you're not completely up in arms is because he has a Browns uniform on, or will have a Browns uniform on. If this was any of the other 31 teams, you would be, how dare they? How could they do this with all the massages and all that? Am I wrong?
I mean,
18 years of experience as being a Steeler fan tells me that I'm pretty much on the right track here.
You could. I think you're on to something there. I'll admit, there's a big part of me. I just want to see him play because I'm a fan, and I know that sounds like horrible when you talk about how big this thing is and has been. And I'm not saying I never said, like, right now he looks like a scumbag person, but I know you maybe argue, two wrongs don't make a right, that old saying or whatever, but how does somebody like Daniel Snyder, who's been subpoenaed, but like nothing, even Robert Kraft, like nothing happened to those guys? So how do you go and you give Watson the biggest NFL suspension ever? I just think that would be, again, there's hypocrisy in this, at least a little bit. And
I don't know that
I'm just playing this.
You're playing this pro Cleveland.
The only reason I'm playing this side, DJ, is because everybody's just come to the conclusion, no matter what, they've voiced their opinion out there, and most people, he's a scumbag. He's going to get what he deserves. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here because
there's a part of you that wants him to get off so he can go win a Super Bowl trophy for Cleveland.
Yeah, there is a part.
But let me ask you this: because this is where your true feelings about Deshaun Watson are going to come out, because we're up against it. If you knew that the Browns could win a Super Bowl without Deshaun Watson, would you care if you ever got him?
If I knew that they could win a Super Bowl without Watson, no, obviously I wouldn't.
So
care,
all it is about for you is a guy that's in a position of power that can possibly help your team win championships. That's it.
To an extent, but wasn't it the same for you with? You said you were pooping your pants.
Sure.
During Roethlisberger.
But the difference is Roethlisberger never had to go through anything like this because he didn't do it 66 times.
I get it. The number is definitely
they say
alarming.
Once is a mistake, twice is a habit. What is 66, Scotty?
Well, it's more like 24.
It's a problem.
Again,
but he had 66 massages lined up.
It's it does definitely look.
If that's not damning evidence, I don't know what is.
It looks bad. I don't know. I was reading the judge.
It looks bad.
I was reading the judge was about hard evidence, and last I was reading was there's no hard evidence he did anything that was, malicious.
Let me ask you something. When somebody settles out of court. To me, that's an admission of guilt.
Yeah, I think it pretty much is.
I mean, if you if you feel like you didn't do it, you're not going to give up that much money and settle.
But on the flip side, DJ, and I know we hit 4 o'clock, but on the flip side here, like, don't you think that no matter what, even if he didn't settle and was still fighting every one of these cases, don't you think that he really had nothing to win either way, even if he said, I'm gonna, because there's still most people are gonna think he did it no matter what, even if he wins.
It's the court of public opinion now, but the problem is that damage is going to be done regardless, whether he wins or loses the case. But if he feels so firmly about he didn't do anything, and we've heard his story, and now we're hearing all these Browns fans flip-flop about how they don't care. Before he was a Cleveland Brown, I hope that guy never plays again. He doesn't deserve it. Oh, and then all of a sudden he comes to Cleveland, and people are like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad if you think about it. He just wanted to. I mean, you'll level with yourself and reason with yourself,
but don't
because
you think every fan base does that, DJ? You're singling out Cleveland, but
I'm saying there's 31 fan bases in the world right now that are saying this dude should never play again or represent the NFL as it is. And Cleveland was 32 until he got traded to Cleveland. And now it's like, well, wait a minute. Wait. We gave up a lot to get this guy. I mean, there's Cleveland fans that are not Cleveland fans anymore because of what this guy did. They've been fans for decades. And they're like, enough's enough. And now and I'm not going to say, listen, I get where you're coming from. I've been there. I prayed, man, dear God, please tell me it's not true about Ben Roethlisberger. Please, dear God. And you know what? It might have been. But here's the thing. All I've said the entire time, just make it right. Whatever you've done, just go the rest of your life and make it right. Deshaun Watson has done nothing to try to create a persona that he is a good person.
He is starting to get help. He's getting counseling, and he's trying to, at least on the surface, it seems that way.
Because somebody's telling him, hey, you better do something, because you sitting around telling people you didn't do anything. Anyway, that is going to do it for our show. Scotty, thank you as always for coming in. We appreciate it.
DJ.
We're going to get out of here so I can get to Little League. Scotty's got to get out of here as well. We will see you tomorrow on the Ysn Power Hour. Again, thanks to our friends, Chet Cooper, Dr. Chet Cooper, and, of course, the new athletic director at Boardman, or at Beaver Local, Mr. Josh Sigler. My head's all over the place. I'm going to Boardman. That's why I said that. That's going to do it for us. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. We will see you tomorrow right here on the Ysn Power Hour. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your